my gosh, everybody's this is so cool. Hello. I don't even know who it is. It just shows your head. Kelly, bonjour. How are you?
Dude, I'm excited.
Dude, totally. I'm so excited that you're here too. Okay, it's going to take me a minute to figure out what the heck I'm doing. Hey! Oh my god, this is so fun. Hi. How are you all? Aww. Okay, wait a second. If I join my room over here, let's see if this Oh, that'll bounce me though. So, have you all used these before? These little rooms? Marilyn, bonjour. How fun is this? Amy, this is really fun. Okay, wait a second. It bounced me out of my room. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna do this again.
Hello.
Okay, hello. How are you? Okay, hold on one second. Join room as Lindsay. Oh, my alarms are still on. Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, yes. Okay, I have notes for us. Hey, everybody. So
Hi, Lindsay.
I don't even know. Lyra, how are you? Oh my
I just literally came from the beach. I'm still dripping off. I'm like, what? Who's inviting me? It's Lindsay.
It's so good. It's like I have the beach and I have my note cards for you all. This is my presentation. Kelly has on a headband. Okay, I don't even know how to manage the audio on here. Okay, so hold on one second. Let me see what we do. You know, it's not so tricky. It can't be so tricky.
I'm gonna take my camera off so I could go have a shower.
Right on, lady. Do it.
Okay, wait a sec. How do you do this?
Okay, hold on one second. I love this. Okay, so hold on one more second. And then we're there. Speaker. What does that even mean? Okay, speaker is there. It's going to be totally worth it, everybody. So we're figuring out this technology. I tried to do it this weekend and it worked really easily. And then here we are and it's a little bit trickier.
Are we muted?
No, I don't even know how to mute you all. There's no way to mute you all. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I don't know how to turn the camera off, guys. Do you know?
So I guess it's so funny. It's like the antithesis of Zoom because we actually need to like be quiet during it. This is crazy. Okay, so we're gonna make it so worth it. I'm so delighted that everybody is here today. If anybody can figure out how we turn off the volume, I don't even know, but we'll just dive in. How about that? Does that sound good, everybody?
Yep.
Woo woo. Okay, this is so fun. All right, so people keep talking to me about Pay-in-Fulls because we keep selling so many of them. And during the past year, we've sold more than we ever have before. And so if you all see how to mute your sides, feel free to mute. And if not, no worries. Welcome, Deborah. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Patrice, I haven't talked to you in like 7 years. I looked at my inbox, right? So what I want to do is make sure that we cover some new stuff today because I know a bunch of you are clients and I know a bunch of people know a number of the things that I teach, but I want to give you new important stuff. So one of the things I'm going to do is certainly tell you what the sentences that we do that ends up being people moving forward in a Pay-in-Full. But the other things that you want to hear about are things that we've not done before. So does that sound good, everybody? All right, cool. Awesome. So at the end, I'm going to give you the sentence to say that will be the exact words, and I've written it down so you all will get the whole everything on it. But I want to make sure that we cover stuff that no one's ever heard before. And so the thing that we're going to talk about first is some things that we're doing in sales conversations that I've never taught. And so even though Sweet Mind Valley says that I'm the world's most sought after sales coach, I think I think probably part of the reason that we sell so much, besides it being just truth, integrity sells, but I think the thing that really happens is that we consistently look at what we're doing and are able to be objectively reflective about it and improve. So I will even tell you that long ago and far away, I remember this like it was yesterday. I had given a lead to a salesperson And I had driven my small children to McDonald's. Now, forgive me, but they were small children and they were really small. And the one thing that we could sort of manage in the afternoons, because I was tired, was like McDonald's. And so we pull into the McDonald's parking lot, and my salesperson texts, yep, she bought it, 20,000. She's sending it, or the salesperson rung it up. And I almost fell on the floor because it was a lead that I had not taken. I thought, I don't think this person's going to buy it. And this person might even be on here. I can't tell yet. And the salesperson had sold her paid in full. And I was certain that this applicant had no money. Honestly, if I was really certain, I thought, I don't even know if we should be on a call with her. And so what I started to see over the course of time is that a lot of times there are people who have a lot of money who make decisions in a very different manner than the way that I made decisions in my life at that point, right? I was a new mom who wasn't making, I made a fair amount of money, but I joined a 100K program at that point, so I was making some money. But I just had I was not a great judge of whether other people could afford things or not. And so we started to see a number of things in terms of people who would pay in full. First of all, just that it was like a solid financial decision. They would decide from a financial perspective whether it made sense to move forward with a paid in full or not. So what we found was if we would offer a discount for pay in full, that very often it wasn't an emotional decision. It's a radically different close with someone who's paying in full than it is for someone who's paying on monthly payments. And it is not as emotional. It doesn't take as long. It's very quiet. And you really have to be tuned into the subtlety, right? You really have to be tuned into energetically with what's going on with someone. And you really have to be very, very patient. And so understand that, for years, because I truly was the world's worst salesperson, I thought, okay, so if they're going to decide to buy something, they're going to be like having objections, and they're going to say no, and I'm going to have to do things, and then I'm going to have to beg, and then I'm going to have to plead. And at the end of the day, honestly, people who are buying at the highest end will tend to be much less emotional, much less hectic. And the thing that I think that we've done exceptionally well for a number of years, but the thing that really causes people to buy in full is what I like to call the intervention. So some of you are familiar with that. I'm going to talk about that for 1 second, and then I'm going to tell you stuff that you haven't heard. But just like a good drug interventionist, right, will say, if you don't go to rehab, they're taking your dog, your truck, and your mother's never speaking to you again, right? Like if you don't stop smoking, you're going to die. We want to understand that when we deliver the truth to someone during a sales conversation that is resonant at their level and is reality, that's the moment when people buy. They're in or they're out for monthly payments. They're in or they're out if they can't afford it, and solely if you are wanting to change their life. It's like if you have a kid and if you say to them, look, if you don't stop leaving dishes in your bedroom, I'm never feeding you again. A, they would call your bluff and know that that's not the case. But B, if I say to my kiddo, if you don't stop doing that, I'm taking your iPad. He knows what's up. It's an if-then consequence. And so we want to get that is absolutely required in a sales conversation where someone will pay in full, because if they're not completely sold on you, they're not going to completely pay for it. And most of us, if I'm really honest with you all, are often not selling people at all that could have paid in full, because we're misreading the symptoms, the signals, and the signs. We're assuming that their quiet is their disinterest, and that's definitively not what's going on. So the thing that I found this year that's really made a sizable difference in our pay in fulls often, which historically I guess I would have seen it too, but in point 3 that I share with you today, I'm going to show you something that, you could have never told me that this kind of marketing would have worked for pay in fulls, and it does. So to note we want to understand that with a sales team, the thing that has worked ingeniously well, which I realized when I was talking to somebody earlier today, is that very often they're doing a first sales call and I'm doing a second sales call. And so the brilliance of having a solid sales team is that they're able to cut down on your schedule by loads, right? Like you don't have to be on nearly as many sales conversations if you have a sales team. And we, with my sales folks, always offer them, and this is probably a good one to write down. I always say, if you're on with someone and you want me on the call for any reason at all, just let me know. I think most sales teams really make huge errors because entrepreneurs expect the salespeople to close all by themselves. And if the salesperson doesn't resonate with the person, or the salesperson's having an off day, or if the salesperson can't relate to the same person in the way that you might, it's a huge opportunity to let your sales team know that you've got their back and that you'll get on a call. And some people, it's interesting to me, a lot of people who are on here right now have paid me in full. I love you all that you're here and wanting to learn. And it demonstrates the fact that you'll really notice that people who pay in full are all in. And the beauty of the results that will get created by you having people that are all in is worth way more than money, right? Like if somebody's paying in small payments, every time a small payment comes out, they're thinking, do I really want to do this? Do I not? If somebody's just giving you a big chunk of change, they're in. When push comes to shove, they'll hold themselves accountable for taking the actions. They'll hold themselves accountable for getting the work done. You will not have to consistently be subtly re-enrolling them every day of your life. So know that very often with a sales team, what can happen is they can mention the amounts on the pay in full, right, on an initial call. And then if they're having a follow-up call with you later, the person already knows the price point. I think that we forget when it's a higher price point. And you also want to understand, like if you're not selling 100K programs, that's okay too, right? Like I can sell stuff at a garage sale with a lot of what I'm talking about. And so we want to get that what happens as well is this, that, I forgot to put up my thing that says stealth sales. I'm supposed to remind us that that's the point that we're on. So the thing that we want to understand is that when people are wanting to pay in full, I didn't even realize this, and this is why it's great to do live trainings. They're having a few days or an afternoon between speaking to my sales team and then speaking to me. And so they're able to wrap their mind around whether they want to move forward with the pay in full or not. So, awesome. So stealth sales, the key things that we want to understand are this, that intervention sells it for freaking sure. Yes, if they are not completely sold on it, it's not going to sell. Secondarily, if you have a sales team, right, if they're doing an initial call, that's really helpful. Because it sets everything up, and I guess it also positions you just in terms of time management is often why we do it, because I want to be at the beach, obviously, as I show you my tropical storm outside my door. And then we also want to understand that a discount often is the thing that will move people forward. I mean, if you're selling something that's $20,000 and they're getting $5,000 off, most people, if they can afford it, will want the $5,000 off. Yes. So I had a client on my mastermind call the other day. She goes, I don't believe in payment plans. I was like, what? She's like, I don't think that anyone should ever be paying a mentor in plans. I think they should only pay in full. And I thought it was so interesting, right? I hadn't really thought about it that way, but there we go. Okay. So the second thing that we want to talk about in terms of pay in fulls is the offer. I'll put my little note cards up so I don't forget. Okay. So here's my jam. If folks are paying in full, the offer has to rock. And I was just on a call with clients earlier today, and And somebody was like, what's my offer? What's my offer? And I get that you all get really confused sometimes by this. Sometimes I do too. And so know that we have a process that we do with people. If you've not experienced our process before, because the third point is going to be about marketing, right? Like, feel free to DM me. And if you've not been through our process before, you can see the marketing, you can get on a call with us, right? If you want to work with us, you can even do that too. But the full-on process is definitively what moves people forward. At root, though, if you don't have something highly transformative that really is going to change people's lives, they're not going to want it at an offer level. And so you want to get that offers always want to be not 88 modules of any freaking thing. It's like, what is the easiest, fastest way for people to move forward? Recently, I had somebody who wanted to do private work with me. And it's like it's urban legend. People say, Lindsay doesn't do one-on-ones. Well, I have somebody who wanted to move forward very quickly, right? In a year-long program condensed into like 11 hours. And so it was like, okay, if they want to do that, right, we can do that. And so everything that normally we would have spent an entire year on, we moved it down to, I think it was 11, right around there, hours. And it delivered everything that they wanted, right? And so what we look at in terms of transformation is, if my goal is to get you all the biggest results, then things that we've seen over the course of time is stuff like, so my clients sometimes stall. They don't want to do the work, right? It'll be the 5th week that I've asked for the same 30-minute assignment and it won't get done because it's life-changing, right? Like, the transformation really, I think, that people get from me is they become a different person. They get a bigger life. I think that that's truly what happens. But what that looks like on the front end is business results. And so a number of years into my coaching practice, what I started to recognize was that certain people would have all the collateral but wouldn't implement it, right? They wouldn't hire the sales team. They wouldn't offer the 100K offer. I just had a client who's been with me for 3 years, and for the past 2 years we've been working on a new second business of hers, and she just launched it, and oh my gosh, right? Like, if you follow me on Facebook, you've seen her. She's got like a group of 15 people together in a castle and sold this whole new program for a new business with no marketing, right? And it's because the offer was fire. And so you really want to understand that, A, if you're not on fire for your offer, you're not going to sell it, right? B, if the offer is not all that exciting to them in terms of transformation, there's no reason that they would want to pay in full for it. And C, you really want to consistently be analyzing, what do people need in order to move forward? And so, like, our 100K offer, which I will, for years I was like, what's my 100K offer? I don't know. So it's how I understand that you all get stuck on it too. And ultimately, we do a process called informational interviews that you'll see me do often, where I'm asking people, like, what do they want? And for my 100K offer, I was like, they want automated income. I know it. They want us to make sales pages for automated income that makes them money when they sleep. And I got on the phone for informational interviews with people, and they were like, I want to know why I'm not flying private. I want to know why I'm not a household name. And it was so interesting to really figure out like what those pains were. And so our 100K program, interestingly, there are fewer calls than my other programs. Now, if my folks in that level of program need me, I'm there, right? But I can over-deliver. I can show up with a bonus. I can give people automated income sales pages, etc., right? But we know ultimately at the level of transformation, the pieces that are included in it don't require much time. I have people who have sold massive things that you could have never told me were possible just from 3 sentences. Yeah? And the higher up, I think you all really want to, I would write this one down. The higher level of investment, people want just like negative time from you. If you could throw a dart at them and they could catch it and that would deliver all the transformation, they're psyched. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I could have said everything I'm going to say during this brief training today already, you all would be like, woohoo, right? Not that it's not fun to hang out, but we want to get that very often at the highest level, time is the thing that they value the most. And they don't really want to spend time with a service provider. I don't base my love for my auto mechanic on how much time he spends with me or she spends with me. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I want to pay my dentist more because it took longer, right? And so we want to get that transformation is what people are buying, yes? And at the highest level, the least amount of time that can take is really valuable to people. Cool. Okay. So then let's talk about the third point, which is marketing. I think this is mind-boggling to me. Okay, so you could have never ever. I'll just put it on the top. I wrote quantum marketing. Dude, we have seen in the past year, during a time where people's brains are on fire, right, and during a time when a lot of people have been stuck at home with an iPhone, that marketing has radically freaking changed. Like in such a way, it's not even funny. And it continues to change in certain ways. And so I've alluded to this to those of you who are in my mastermind already, but let's really teach it here because at this point, it's been over a year and it's trends, right? It's not just the first, like in the first few months of the pandemic, we had an 89-second video of me standing in the ocean that sold more people into a 20K pay in full than I could have ever even imagined, right? Like it was a full-time job just managing all the applications that came in. And so then we slowed it down a bit to be in the ocean. But now what we've seen in the later stages is not only do those still stay occurring, but people are also doing it at a higher level. And so what we want to get is the area of opportunity in this moment really especially is this, that people are ripe for change. If you weren't born for now, I don't know when you were born for. I don't think it's an accident that we're here. And people know very quickly from one's marketing if they're going to move forward. Like, sweet Cindy is here. Cindy, like you had watched my 89-second video before you jumped in and that was it, yes? Had you seen the long one? I always forget this, I apologize. No. And I got on the phone to reschedule with Cindy because we were swamped. Do you care if I tell this story, Cindy? She started crying the moment she heard my voice. She said, is this Lindsay? Is this the Lindsay? All she had seen was 89 seconds of me standing in a swimsuit in a one-take video. Now, I want to tell you all that the secret is not for you to go stand in a swimsuit for 89 seconds and shoot, right? Because there is an expertise that I possess that's very specific. But that strategy works. And so we want to get that when marketing meets people where they are, when marketing is emotional, when marketing speaks to the depth of people, not to the superficial level, and when you have a commitment to, oh, it's starting to rain again. When you have a commitment to break the code, then it works, right? It's not as if it's a magic pill. It's not as if, woo, just like do anything you want and it will rock. But you want to get that if you are committed to cracking the code, which I think this is probably the biggest lesson I can teach you all in marketing. It's so interesting because this is, I really am just intentional about delivering value today. So I wrote down these little index cards, but that's about it. But here's my little sermon on marketing, that those who succeed are those who don't give up, right? Like, be it organic, be it ads, be it however you're doing it. Like, I always say this, but Michael Phelps did not accidentally win the Olympics. He didn't get on the block and go, maybe this year. Dude, for him to get back up there after what he'd gone through the last time, it took everything in him. But it was what he was committed to doing. I mean, like, I'll tell you my trick that I do when I think, oh, I don't want to market. I don't know if I feel like it. It's too edgy, right? Like, do people want to, all that garbage? I think, okay, if Jesus were my client, or Buddha, or whoever you, Nancy Drew, it can be anyone you want it to be, but would you do this for them? Should they be out in the world? Should it be in people's faces? Should they be relentless, right? Like if you worked for Oprah or Starbucks or, you know what I mean, Jiminy Cricket, would you be like, put an ad up and then I chilled for a week? No. You'd be like, let's crack this code. Yes? So we want to understand that there is not only the formative part on the front side of what we put out there, but additionally a fortitude to complete the task. I think in reality what happens for many of us is this. It's very much why our offer got structured as our offer did, was because at a certain point with my clients, I would get so frustrated because the work wouldn't be completed. And so I created programs where we could complete the work for people so that they couldn't come and say, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And so when you look at your offer, you also want to understand, are there ways that you can support your clients in getting further, better, bigger, more transcendent results? Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. Okay. So the other thing that I would say, there are a couple other things I want to say. So we have, you got to have sales that are really stealth, right? Like people aren't going to pay in full if they're not fully sold. Yeah. And so if you are offering pay in fulls and no one is taking you up on it, you want to understand that what may be happening in part is that you're sort of like grilling the portobello steak 3/4 of the way. And I don't know what happens with, but I assume portobello steaks are not that yummy if they're not grilled the whole way. Yes. You want to have an offer that's transcendent. You want to have an offer that really gives people the results that they need. Yes. And you want to have marketing that really lets people know that they're in the right place at the right time, and you want to be completely committed to it. I mean, it's worth taking a look at your stats, right? It's worth going, okay, so how many people actually, like with my clients, we do it really simply, right? It's like one video, one funnel, often one sales call. And so if we reverse engineer it, you want to think, okay, so like how many people were actually on my application page? And if it weren't enough to create the sales that you want to, then you want to increase the amount of people that are getting to that page, right? Like the beauty of it is once all the creative part is done, it's really about stats, right? How many people am I on calls with? How many people are seeing my application page? And if you're selling a high-end offer, the ad spend can be a bit bigger. If you're selling a lower-end offer, right, then we're more concerned about cost per click, etc. But very often in the first $25 or so, we can tell how an ad is performing, and we can test and we can adjust things and get things cooking. And then after you're done testing, like I have people, I don't do it this way, but I know plenty of people who are like, if I spend $1 on ads and I make $2, I'm good. Dude, that means if you're selling a 20K offer, you're spending $10,000 to get that sale. I would not necessarily go that route. And there are a lot of ways that we cannot, but we really want to understand, right? What are our expectations and what are the stats that we're looking at? Yeah? Okay. So let me tell you the sentence that closes Pay in Fulls, because I feel like it's so interesting. It just was a throwaway sentence that I didn't recognize for a really long time had that much value. But it really does. And so any of my clients on here will know what this sentence is. Any of you want to volunteer what the sentence is to say at the end? You want to say, here we go, that there's a discount for Pay in Full if they'd like to hear it. It's just that simple. There's a discount for Pay in Full if you'd like to hear it. It's quite easy. Yes? And if they don't want to hear it, no problem. And if they do want the discount, then they can hear it. And it moves people forward beautifully. I think the biggest error that people make most of the time is they're not even offering the pay in full, right? And you really do want to understand that there is a profound difference in the difference that you can make in someone's life if they're fully committed. And so you want your offer to be all in. You want your marketing to be all in. You want your sales to be all in, right? And you want your clients to be all in. And you want to be all in for your clients. And so I think that part of the piece where people get disconnected is they think that being paid in full is about them, right? It's about their value, or it's about if people like them. But the reality of the situation is, in a year where we keep selling six-figure pay in fulls very consistently to cold leads who've never seen us before, it's about all the pieces that we talked about today. It's just having those pieces stacked up. So, any questions anyone has? I'm so excited to try out this new technology with you, and it's delightful to share this because I don't think there's anybody, I mean, I don't know, but the price that we're selling stuff at regularly to folks in this way works really well. And again, if you want to see the process that we utilize, so you can see the marketing, you can see the sales conversation, like, dude, get on a sales call with me, especially if you don't want to buy something. If I don't blow your mind, right? Like, there we go. You can DM us if you're interested. So any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I'm afraid to touch my screen. I totally can. Can you say who you are? Because I'm not even able to see you. I'm afraid I'll knock it off. Yes.
Hi, Lindsay. It's Camila Harkavy.
Hey.
And my question is, you said that the majority of people that pay in full are men, and I know for myself, I have paid in full many times because I love the discount. And so I'm curious to know what your experience has been with women, if they need it offered to them differently.
That's so interesting because I did not say that. I definitely have found women pay in full more, and it may be because I have more women as clients. So perhaps I said something that sounded like that. I know I alluded to men about something.
That's what I heard, and that's what I wrote down. That you said most pay in full clients are men.
Nope.
Okay.
If anyone else heard what I said directly, and again, we're in a Caribbean tropical storm, so the audio could be a little bit funky, but I appreciate the question. And I would assume that I can't make any assumptions about that. I've had some men pay in full for sure, but we have tended over the years to serve more women than men because we started out and wanted to pay half the ad budget. I had no ad budget when we started Facebook ads, and so we found women converted, and so we dropped men out of the advertising. And so, I hope that's helpful.
I just wonder if the languaging needs to be adjusted if you're aiming at women.
In terms of how you pay in full or in general?
Oh, well, I was asking about pay in full, but of course in general too.
Yeah, in general is a huge other conversation. So,
Right.
if we're going to make it, it's hard even to make the generality about men or women, right? But the thing that I would say is that it's a financial decision, right? And asking if they want to pay in full and offering a discount for those who like money and have money and want to save money. I think that languaging, it's worked effectively with both men and women for us.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Of course. Totally. Any other questions? Was this helpful to you all?
It absolutely has been, and I wanted to thank you.
Oh my gosh, of course. My pleasure. It's so fun to play with a new Facebook tool, right? Because the beauty of Cindy was like, are you going on? Is this Clubhouse? Because I'm always like, spend your time wisely. It's like, no, the beauty of Facebook is, right, with all the targeting that they have, what ultimately this tool may be, right, is quite profound. So I would not be surprised if we start to see ads available in this format too. Awesome. Okay, so if that's it, it's been such a joy to be with you all. I cannot wait to be with you again. Thanks so much for joining me on this rainy day, and we'll look forward to talking to you all soon. Have a great one. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.